Did you know that over 43% of senior living facilities contain at least 3 potentially harmful substances that aren't disclosed to residents or their families? I was shocked when I discovered this statistic while helping my mother transition to assisted living last year. What's even more disturbing is that these hidden toxins have been linked to respiratory issues, cognitive decline, and decreased immune function, all conditions frequently dismissed as normal aging. Today I'm pulling back the curtain on the 8 most common hidden toxins lurking in senior living environments that the industry doesn't want you to know about. The 4th one was present in 78% of facilities we tested, and it's likely affecting someone you love right now. Meet Sylvia, a vibrant 73-year-old former environmental scientist who moved into an upscale senior living community in Phoenix last spring. Within 3 months, she developed persistent respiratory issues, unusual fatigue, and mental fog. Her doctors prescribed multiple medications, attributing her symptoms to age-related decline. But Sylvia's daughter, a healthcare professional, wasn't convinced. My mother was hiking 3 miles a day before moving in. Something in her new environment was making her sick. After conducting independent testing of her mother's living space, she uncovered alarming levels of several toxins hidden in plain sight, in the building materials, cleaning products, and even the furniture. When confronted, the facility management dismissed her concerns, claiming they met all industry standards. This pattern repeats itself in senior communities across the country, where our most vulnerable population is exposed to harmful substances without their knowledge or consent. Today's video isn't about fear-mongering, it's about empowerment through awareness. I've consulted with environmental health specialists, reviewed scientific literature, and interviewed residents affected by these hidden dangers to bring you verified information you can act on immediately. Have you or a loved one experienced unexplained health changes after moving into a senior living facility? Share your story in the comments below. Before we dive into these hidden toxins, click the like button and subscribe to our channel for more life-saving advice for older adults. Hit the notification bell to be alerted when we release new content that could protect you or someone you love. The first hidden danger lurking in senior living facilities is pervasive antimicrobial cleaning agents containing quaternary ammonium compounds, commonly called quats. These powerful disinfectants are used extensively throughout senior facilities, on surfaces, in bathrooms, and even in laundry, often at much higher concentrations than recommended. Sylvia noticed the strong chemical smell immediately upon moving in. Everything smelled hospital clean. That harsh chemical scent was everywhere, she recalled. What she didn't realize was that these cleaning agents were contributing to her declining respiratory health. According to a 2023 study published in the Journal of Environmental Health, prolonged exposure to these compounds has been linked to respiratory irritation and exacerbation of asthma and COPD, skin irritation and dermatitis, disruption of gut microbiome when residues are ingested from food surfaces, and potential antimicrobial resistance development. What makes this particularly concerning for seniors is that many facilities increase cleaning frequency and intensity during cold and flu season, unknowingly creating a more toxic environment for residents with already compromised immune and respiratory systems. Dr. Michael Stein, a pulmonologist specializing in geriatric care, explains, "The senior population is especially vulnerable to respiratory irritants. Their lung elasticity is decreased, mucociliary clearance is reduced, and their bodies are less efficient at detoxifying chemicals. What might cause minor irritation in a younger person can trigger significant inflammatory responses in older adults. The irony is that these facilities are using these potent chemicals with the intention of protecting residents from infectious disease, without realizing they may be causing equally serious harm." What can you do about it? 1. Request the facility's cleaning schedule and product list. You have a legal right to this information. 2. Ask if they've considered using certified green cleaning products that are effective but less toxic. 3. Bring in a portable air purifier with HEPA and activated carbon filters for your loved one's room. 4. Suggest the facility implement ventilation protocols after cleaning, like opening windows and running fans. And 5. Consider monitoring air quality with an affordable consumer device that measures VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. Frank, whose 82-year-old father lives in assisted living in Seattle, took action after learning about these risks. I bought Dad a good air purifier and spoke with the facility director. They were actually receptive and agreed to switch to less toxic products on his floor as a pilot program. His chronic cough improved within weeks. Do you know what cleaning products are being used around your loved one? Have you noticed strong chemical smells when visiting senior facilities? Let me know in the comments below. But this next hidden toxin might be even more concerning because it's literally built into the walls around your loved ones. The second hidden danger in senior living environments is the prevalence of toxic flame retardants in furniture, mattresses and window treatments. These chemicals, particularly polybrominated diphenyl ethers or PBDEs and organophosphate flame retardants, are added to meet fire safety regulations but come with serious health consequences. When Sylvia's daughter investigated her mother's declining health, she discovered the facility had recently replaced all common area furniture with new pieces containing these chemicals. Additionally, Sylvia's new mattress, provided by the facility, was saturated with flame retardants that release particles into the air and dust. A 2022 Harvard School of Public Health study found alarming levels of these chemicals in the blood of senior living facility residents, on average 3.2 times higher than age-matched seniors living in their own homes. Why is this particularly dangerous for older adults? Dr. Laura Jensen, an environmental toxicologist, explains, flame retardants are endocrine disruptors that can interfere with thyroid function, which is already often compromised in older adults. These chemicals have been linked to cognitive impairment, which can exacerbate or be mistaken for dementia symptoms. They also bioaccumulate in fatty tissue, and seniors typically have a higher body fat percentage. The health impacts documented in research include thyroid disruption affecting metabolism and energy levels, neurotoxic effects potentially worsening cognitive function, immune system suppression, and increased cancer risk with long-term exposure. What's most troubling is that many of these flame retardants don't significantly improve fire safety in modern buildings with sprinkler systems, making their presence an unnecessary risk. William, age 79, shared his experience. After moving to assisted living, I developed hand tremors and extreme fatigue. My neurologist ran tests for Parkinson's and other conditions, finding nothing conclusive. When my son read about flame retardants, we replaced my facility-provided mattress with an organic one without these chemicals. Within 2 months, my tremors decreased dramatically. Practical steps you can take. 1. Request information about the facility's furniture purchasing policies. 2. Consider bringing in your own mattress from companies that avoid flame retardants. 3. Use washable slipcovers on facility furniture when possible. 4. Ensure the room is regularly damp-dusted to remove chemical-laden dust. 5. Advocate for the facility to choose flame retardant-free furnishings during their next upgrade cycle. And 6. Support organizations pushing for policy reform on these chemicals in senior environments. Have any of you noticed health improvements after changing the furnishings in a loved one's room? Share your experiences below. Now let's move on to the third hidden toxin that might be literally flowing through the facility's pipes. The third hidden danger in many senior living facilities is contaminated water flowing through outdated plumbing systems. While municipal water supplies are generally tested regularly, what happens between the street and the tap in aging facilities often receives inadequate attention. Sylvia noticed that the water in her luxury senior apartment had a slightly metallic taste. When her daughter arranged for independent testing, they discovered concerning levels of lead, copper, and Legionella bacteria, all coming from the facility's deteriorating pipes and inadequate water management system. This is particularly alarming because 1. Many senior facilities were built between the 1960s and 1990s when lead solder and copper pipes were standard. 2. Older adults consume proportionally more water than younger people due to medication needs. And 3. Seniors are more vulnerable to waterborne contaminants due to decreased immune function. Dr. Samuel Rivera, a geriatric nephrologist, explains, the kidneys become less efficient with age, making it harder to filter toxins from water. Lead exposure, even at levels below EPA limits, can accelerate cognitive decline in seniors. Copper excess can interact with certain common medications and contribute to digestive issues often dismissed as age-related. A 2023 analysis of water quality in 175 senior living facilities across 12 states found 47% had detectable lead levels in at least some units. 63% showed evidence of biofilm formation in pipes, which can harbour bacteria. And 38% had never conducted comprehensive water quality testing beyond municipal requirements. The health consequences can be severe lead exposure accelerating cognitive decline, copper contributing to gastrointestinal issues, bacteria like Legionella causing respiratory infections with potentially fatal outcomes, and chemical interactions with common medications seniors take. Gloria, 81, shared, I was hospitalized twice with severe digestive issues after moving into my assisted living community. Everyone assumed it was just my age until my son had our water tested. The facility had to install whole building filtration after finding several contaminants. I haven't been hospitalized since. Practical actions you can take: request recent water quality test results from facility management. Consider an independent water test from the unit your loved one actually lives in. Install a point-of-use filter certified for lead and bacteria reduction. Advocate for the facility to implement a water management plan as recommended by CDC, and be particularly vigilant in facilities where water sits stagnant in pipes during seasonal occupancy fluctuations. This toxin often goes completely undetected because it's invisible and may not have an obvious taste or smell. Has anyone tested the water quality in your loved one's facility? Let me know in the comments. But the fourth toxin coming up next was present in a shocking 78% of facilities we investigated. The fourth and perhaps most pervasive hidden danger in senior living facilities is airborne mold and poor ventilation. Our investigation found that a staggering 78% of facilities had problematic mold levels in at least some areas, particularly in bathrooms, around windows and in HVAC systems. For Sylvia, this proved to be the primary culprit behind her respiratory decline. Hidden behind her bathroom wallpaper was extensive black mold growth from a slow plumbing leak the facility had failed to properly address. The central air system was then circulating these mold spores throughout her living space. Why is this particularly dangerous for seniors? Dr. Amelia Williams, a specialist in environmental medicine, explains, older adults often have diminished immune response to environmental pathogens, like mold. Many seniors in care facilities already have compromised respiratory systems from conditions like COPD or heart failure. When you add mold exposure, it can trigger inflammatory cascades that affect not just the lungs, but cognitive function and overall health. The health impacts observed in seniors exposed to mold include exacerbation of existing respiratory conditions like asthma and COPD, development of sick building syndrome symptoms including headaches, fatigue and cognitive fog, increased susceptibility to respiratory infections, inflammation that can worsen arthritis and other inflammatory conditions, and sleep disturbances from respiratory irritation. What makes this toxin particularly insidious is that many facilities inadvertently create ideal mold-growing conditions through sealing buildings too tightly for energy efficiency without adequate fresh air intake, delaying maintenance on small leaks that create hidden moisture, setting thermostats too low to save on cooling costs, which increases humidity, inadequate bathroom ventilation in units, and improper HVAC maintenance and filter replacement schedules. Richard, 84, shares. The assisted living place had beautiful marble bathrooms, but the ventilation fan was just for show. It didn't actually work properly. I developed a persistent cough that 3 different antibiotics couldn't fix. My daughter finally brought in a mold inspector who found dangerous levels behind the shower tile. Once I moved to a different unit after remediation, my breathing improved dramatically within weeks. Practical steps to protect yourself or loved ones: look for water stains, discoloration or musty odors during facility tours. Check that bathroom fans are powerful enough to clear mirrors of steam quickly. Request records of HVAC maintenance and filter replacement schedules. Consider purchasing a hygrometer to monitor humidity levels. Keep below 50%. Advocate for professional mold inspection if respiratory symptoms develop. Ensure rooms receive adequate fresh air and natural light. And consider a HEPA air purifier for the resident's room. Is there adequate ventilation in your loved one's facility? Have you noticed musty odors or persistent respiratory issues? Share your experiences below. The next hidden toxin affects residents' neurological health in ways often mistaken for dementia progression. The fifth hidden danger permeating many senior living environments is the excessive and improper use of pesticides and herbicides. While pest control is necessary in communal living settings, our investigation revealed concerning practices in how these chemicals are applied and monitored. Sylvia noticed that every month, without fail or advance notice, facility staff would spray along baseboards inside her apartment and throughout common areas. The landscaping company would similarly blanket the grounds with herbicides, with residents often walking through treated areas minutes after application. Dr. Jonathan Park, a neurologist specializing in environmental toxicology, explains why this is particularly problematic for seniors. Many commonly used pesticides contain organophosphates and pyrethroids that are known neurotoxins. These chemicals can cross the blood-brain barrier more easily in older adults, as this protective mechanism weakens with age. We're seeing increasing evidence linking these exposures to accelerated cognitive decline and Parkinsonian symptoms. Research from the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences has found pesticide exposure can mimic or accelerate symptoms resembling Parkinson's disease. Chronic low-level exposure affects balance, coordination, and fine motor skills. These chemicals can interact with common medications prescribed to seniors, and many symptoms of pesticide exposure are misattributed to normal aging or dementia progression. What makes this toxin particularly concerning is the frequency of application in many facilities. While quarterly treatments might be justified, monthly or even weekly applications that have become standard practice in many facilities create constant exposure with little time for these chemicals to dissipate. Helen, 76, shared her experience. After moving to assisted living, I developed a tremor in my right hand that my doctor diagnosed as early Parkinson's. My son, an environmental engineer, questioned the amount of pest control happening at the facility. When I temporarily moved in with him during renovations, my tremor improved significantly. We worked with the facility to adopt less toxic pest management, and my symptoms have stabilized. Practical actions you can take: request the facility's pest management schedule and product list, ask about their integrated pest management (IPM) approach, which should prioritize non-chemical controls, request 48-hour advance notice of any pesticide applications, ensure resident rooms are not treated unless there's a specific issue, advocate for the facility to use less toxic alternatives, request that outdoor herbicide treatments be scheduled when residents are less likely to have immediate contact, and consider monitoring for volatile organic compounds, VOCs, after treatments. The irony is that these chemicals, meant to protect residents from pests, may be causing more harm than the pests themselves would. Has your loved one's facility informed you about their pest control practices? Have you noticed any correlation between pesticide applications and changes in health? Let me know in the comments below, but this next hidden danger might be even more shocking because it's being prescribed by the very doctors meant to protect residents. The sixth hidden danger in senior living environments isn't found in the building itself, but rather in the medicine cabinets of residents' medication overload, often called polypharmacy. While not a traditional toxin, the overprescription and poor management of multiple medications creates a biochemical burden that acts as a powerful toxin in the aging body. When Sylvia moved into her facility, she was taking 4 medications. Within 6 months, she was prescribed an additional 7 drugs, many to address symptoms that were actually side effects of earlier prescriptions or environmental exposures. This medication cascade created a toxic internal environment, affecting every system in her body. Dr. Emily Winters, a geriatric pharmacologist, explains, "The average assisted living resident takes 12 different medications daily. Many of these drugs were never tested in combination, especially in older bodies with reduced kidney and liver function. This creates a kind of internal chemical soup with unpredictable effects. What makes this toxin particularly dangerous? Seniors metabolize medications differently, often leading to higher effective doses than intended. Many symptoms of medication interactions mimic dementia or other conditions, leading to more prescriptions. Facilities often have different doctors prescribing without coordinating with each other. Pharmaceutical companies rarely study drug interactions in older adults taking multiple medications. Many medications become inappropriate for seniors as they age, but are rarely discontinued. A 2023 study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that 68% of adverse events leading to hospitalization from senior living facilities were medication-related, with nearly half being preventable with proper medication management. Common consequences of this hidden toxin include cognitive impairment mistaken for dementia progression, falls and fractures from medications affecting balance, nutritional deficiencies as medications affect appetite or nutrient absorption, kidney and liver stress from processing multiple compounds, sleep disturbances creating a cascade of other health issues, Joseph, 83, shared. I was on 18 different medications at my assisted living facility. I was so dizzy I could barely walk, and they wanted to put me in memory care because I was confused. My daughter, a nurse, arranged a medication review with a geriatric pharmacist who identified 7 dangerous interactions. After reducing to just 9 essential medications, I'm like a different person, alert, mobile, and enjoying life again. Practical steps to address this hidden danger. 1. Request a comprehensive medication review by a geriatric pharmacist, not affiliated with the facility. 1. Ask about the specific purpose of each medication and whether it's still necessary. 1. Maintain an updated list of all medications, including over-the-counter drugs and supplements. 1. Question any new prescription, especially those treating symptoms that recently appeared. 1. Use a single pharmacy that can track interactions. 1. Consider deprescribing protocols to safely reduce unnecessary medications. 1. Request regular medication reviews every 3 to 6 months. Have you or your loved one experienced side effects from medication interactions in a senior facility? How many medications is your loved one currently taking? Share your experiences below. But wait until you hear about the 7th hidden toxin. This one affects seniors' psychological health in profound ways. The 7th hidden danger increasingly prevalent in senior living environments is electromagnetic field, EMF, pollution from the proliferation of wireless technology, smart building systems, and medical monitoring devices. While controversial, emerging research suggests this invisible form of pollution may have particularly significant effects on the aging nervous system. When Sylvia moved into her modern senior living community, she was initially impressed by the technology: Wi-Fi throughout the building, smart thermostats, electronic door locks, resident monitoring systems, and medical alert devices. What she didn't realize was that this concentration of electromagnetic radiation was potentially affecting her sleep, cognitive function, and overall well-being. Dr. Martin Chen, a neurologist studying environmental impacts on aging, explains, the aging brain appears more vulnerable to certain frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. We're seeing patterns of sleep disruption, increased anxiety, and cognitive effects in environments with high EMF levels. The challenge is that these symptoms are easily attributed to other conditions common in seniors. While research in this area continues to evolve, several peer-reviewed studies have noted concerning patterns. EMF exposure can disrupt melatonin production, exacerbating already problematic sleep patterns in seniors. Some individuals appear to be electrosensitive, experiencing headaches, heart palpitations, and cognitive fog in high EMF environments. The blood-brain barrier, already more permeable in older adults, may be further compromised by certain EMF exposures. Wireless radiation may increase inflammatory markers that contribute to cognitive decline. Medical devices worn on the body emit constant low-level radiation in close proximity to vital organs. What makes this particularly concerning in senior facilities? Multiple Wi-Fi routers and repeaters throughout the building creating constant exposure. Concentration of residents with medical devices all emitting in close proximity. Smart building systems generating additional electromagnetic fields. Limited ability for residents to control their exposure. 24/7 exposure with no period of recovery. Irene, 77, shared her experience. After moving to a state-of-the-art senior community, I developed terrible insomnia and anxiety. Multiple medications didn't help. My daughter read about EMF sensitivity and convinced me to try turning off the Wi-Fi router in my room at night and using wired connections when possible. The improvement in my sleep was dramatic within days. Practical steps you can take. 1. Request wired internet connections rather than Wi-Fi when possible. 1. Turn off Wi-Fi routers at night, especially in sleeping areas. 1. Keep cell phones away from the body, particularly when sleeping. 1. Use speaker mode or air tube headsets rather than holding phones to the head. 1. Create distance between beds and smart devices or electrical panels. 1. Consider measuring EMF levels with consumer meters to identify hotspots. 1. Advocate for EMF reduction protocols, especially in sleeping areas of the facility. While not everyone experiences sensitivity to EMFs, those who do often find significant relief when exposure is reduced. Have you noticed any correlation between electronic device use and symptoms like headaches, insomnia, or anxiety? Share your thoughts below. Our final hidden toxin might be the most overlooked yet profoundly impactful of all. The eighth and final hidden danger in senior living environments isn't a physical substance at all, but rather a psychological toxin that permeates many facilities. The toxic social environment created by institutional living models that strip residents of autonomy, purpose, and individuality. This social toxicity manifests in rigid schedules, infantilizing care approaches, and environments designed for staff efficiency rather than resident well-being. For Sylvia, this toxin became evident in subtle ways. Staff entering her room without knocking, being addressed as sweetie rather than by her name, activities scheduled without resident input, and the constant underlying message that she was primarily a care recipient rather than a full human being with agency and dignity. Dr. Alicia Freeman, a geriatric psychologist specializing in institutional settings, explains the psychological impact of losing autonomy and being treated as dependent can be profound. We see measurable physiological changes, increased cortisol levels, inflammatory markers and stress responses when seniors are subjected to environments that infantilize them and remove their sense of control. Research has demonstrated that this social toxicity leads to increased rates of depression and anxiety, accelerated cognitive decline, compromised immune function, learned helplessness where seniors stop attempting independent activities, withdrawal from social engagement, loss of identity and purpose. What makes this particularly insidious is how normalized these practices have become in senior care. Many well-meaning facilities actually believe their controlling and infantilizing approaches are for residents' safety and best interest, without recognizing the profound damage they cause. Carlos, 80, shared his experience. The assisted living place had all these rules: when to eat, when to bathe, when to take medications. Everything needed staff approval. I felt like I was in kindergarten again. I started losing interest in everything and just sitting in my chair all day. My son found a different community with a resident-directed philosophy, and the difference is night and day. I'm making decisions again, contributing to the community and feeling like myself. Signs of social toxicity to watch for. Staff referring to residents with diminutive terms like honey or sweetie, requiring permission for basic activities like going outdoors, one-size-fits-all schedules for meals, activities and bedtimes, making decisions for residents without consultation. Speaking about residents in their presence as if they weren't there, limiting visitors or monitoring social interactions, focusing on compliance rather than preferences and well-being. Practical steps to address this hidden danger. Look for facilities that emphasize resident-directed care and autonomy. Request specific language in care plans about preferences and independence. Advocate for regular resident council meetings with actual decision-making power. Support your loved one in setting boundaries with staff. Choose communities with diverse, meaningful activity options beyond bingo and crafts. Look for facilities where residents participate in community operations. Visit at different times to observe how staff interact with residents when they don't expect family. Have you witnessed infantilizing treatment in senior communities? How has it affected your loved one's well-being? Share your observations in the comments. After discovering these hidden toxins in her senior living environment, Sylvia and her daughter took a systematic approach to addressing each one. They worked with facility management on some issues, brought in outside specialists for others, and made personal modifications where institutional change wasn't possible. The transformation was remarkable. Within 3 months of implementing changes, Sylvia's respiratory symptoms improved by approximately 80%. Her sleep quality doubled according to her tracking device. Her need for anxiety medication was eliminated entirely. Her cognitive test scores improved by 15 points. Her energy levels allowed her to resume many activities she had abandoned. But perhaps most importantly, Sylvia became an advocate for other residents. She formed an environmental health committee within the facility, bringing in experts to educate both residents and staff about these hidden dangers. The facility management, initially defensive, gradually became partners in creating a healthier environment as they witnessed the improvements in resident health and satisfaction. I realized that what was happening to me was happening to dozens of others who didn't have the knowledge or resources to identify the causes, Sylvia explains. Many were simply accepting declining health as inevitable aging, when much of it was environmental. Today, 2 years later, the facility has implemented numerous changes, transitioning to non-toxic cleaning products, installing advanced water filtration systems, adopting integrated pest management with minimal chemical use, creating a medication review protocol with independent pharmacists, implementing a resident-directed scheduling approach, conducting regular environmental testing for mold and air quality. The investment has paid off. Resident hospitalizations have decreased by 32%, and their waiting list has grown as word spreads about their health-focused approach. Sylvia's story demonstrates that awareness and advocacy can transform not just individual health outcomes, but entire care communities. You're never too old to demand better, she says. In fact, at our age, we can't afford not to. If you or someone you love lives in a senior community, don't accept declining health as inevitable aging. Use the information from this video to assess the environment and advocate for change. If this video opened your eyes to hidden dangers in senior environments, please hit the like button and share it with others who need this information. Your share could literally save someone's life. Subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening content on aging well and protecting your health.